What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a review for The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 14, and the episode's titled, What the Fuck? Alright, you guys, so before we get into this episode review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, I need you guys to do me a big solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribe to the channel, turning your notifications on, and sharing the video, you guys. And without the way, without further ado, you guys, let us go ahead and discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. All right, you guys, so I did not realize it until I watched this episode. So what happened is I was watching it on my phone. So when I started watching it, I saw it said an hour and 31 minutes. I'm like, huh? I was like, okay, so what they probably did was tacked on Watch What Happens Live. So then I closed out. I went and got Starbucks, right? And then I came back, and it said 2 hours. I'm like, why is this shit 2 hours long? So they had a supersized episode last night. So what it was it was an hour and 30 minutes with Watch What Happens Live tacked onto it, right? So I'll give them that. It was the end of the episode was really good, right? And we're gonna talk about it because I got a lot of things to say about the end of the episode. But you guys, we're going to start up and we're going to talk about Meredith, right? So we see Meredith and she's at home and Brooks is there, right? So Brooks is going to make another one of his designs. And I was just like, oh my God. Okay, it's the white privilege for me. You guys know I love me some Meredith, right? But when it comes to Brooks and this fashion shit, it's like, damn. There are so many people out there in the world who would love to, who have these designs that they want to do. But then you got Brooks, who, no shade to Brooks. You have two designs, right? And they both look similar. Oh, wait, it was a tracksuit, right? Wasn't it a tracksuit last season? Now it's a blazer. That's not a fashion line, but okay, I'm gonna let Brooks have it. So we see Jenny and we see Lisa. They both come over to the crib, right? So Jenny got there first, and so she and Meredith, they sat down and they had to talk, right? So the discussion between them was this whole thing about, you guys know that Dewey, he wants for Jenny to have another baby, but Jenny doesn't want to have another kid. And the fact that, she told her and Lisa when she got there that he suggested that they have a sister wife, right? So they talked to her about that. It ain't really much that can be said, except for Jenny putting her fucking foot down. I don't know why I know it was a cute thing for them to, dress Jenny up sexy and put the wig on her, right? But Jenny got to put her fucking foot down with Dewey and tell her, like, if you want a sister wife, divorce me, go get remarried, and then go find you a sister wife. That's what you can do. But I'm not doing that shit. Just because you want a baby, I don't want a kid. We already have our children. I don't want any more kids. I'm not raising no more kids. I'm not breastfeeding. I'm not waking up in the night to, change no diapers. I'm not doing any of that shit. You're going to do it. And you won't be with me. That's what Jenny got to say to him. Like, that's just how I feel. Put your foot down and tell him, lay the land of the law to him, basically. But that's that. So we're going to move over and we're going to talk about Jen real quick, right? So we see Jen, and Jen is going out with Lisa. So she's on the phone with Heather, and she's telling Heather that, she had been texting and calling Lisa, right? But Lisa, was unresponsive up until about 4 days ago when Lisa suggested that they go out for either lunch or brunch, whichever one, right? And so we see Jen, and she meets up with Lisa, right? Baby, Jen is going to cling to the fact that she is innocent. But if you guys watch, like I said last week's review, if you guys actually watch that special that's on Hulu, go look at it. It's really an interesting watch, you guys. Because the people that they are alleging that Jen are her co-conspirators, all those people have been convicted. A good majority of those people have been convicted, right? And like I explained it to you guys, what the issue, it's a telemarketing scheme, right? And really what it is was they sell leads, right, of these people, right, to different companies. It's basically a shell company. It's not an actual real company. you're buying these products that you're never ever going to get, right? And if you guys, if anybody does YouTube, you guys pretty much, if you we have to have our emails attached to our email, our Gmails attached to our YouTube. I get a lot of emails. I get emails out the asshole about people saying, especially where people like I can buy subscribers, I can buy watch hours, I can buy views on my videos. Like that's the biggest scam, right? And then I have people who try to sell me things about, editing software and all that kind of stuff. I am back. So yeah, what I was saying was people do send stuff like that all the time. Try to get me to do editing things. I have Final Cut Pro on my MacBook Pro. Final Cut Pro on here. My phone, I got, iMovie. On my laptop, I also have iMovie. So I don't need editing shit, and I don't need people and the watch hours. I don't need all that shit. Like I'm good. So yeah, it happens, right? It definitely does happen. But you got to just know what's what. But yeah, Jen is still clinging to the fact that she's innocent. And Lisa tells her that she believes her. Okay, girl, if you say so, right? So then Lisa's like, you know what, Jen, my feelings were really hurt. And that's why I stepped back from you. Do I believe Lisa about that? Semi, right? I believe Lisa this much about that. Because I do believe Lisa was upset about the fact that Jen had come at her, she felt, right? Especially at her kids, when she was doing that photo shoot. So I do give Lisa that, I give her that little bit, right? But I also still side-eyed Lisa because you were still, because on that trip to Vail, you were cool with Jen, right? Yeah, you were cool. It wasn't until this situation came out with Jen that you kind of used that as a way to step back. You may have already felt some type of way about it, but I think you actually, really used it, right? Child, at one point, Lisa and Jen were fake. I mean, they were crying. I'm like, but where are the tears at? Like the Botox that you guys have done. Oh, you ain't got no tears. At one point, I did notice under Jen's eyes that they were a little watery, but I'm like, oh God. So Jen says, that Lisa hasn't been there for her. She's like, I've been there for you, Jen. I've been there for you for the last 9 months. Okay, if you say so, right? So then we see Jen with her family, right? And they are celebrating Ramadan. You guys, I'm going to put a picture right here. What the hell is that on Jen's head? Is that a wig? Like, I'm hella confused. Is that a goddamn wig? Because it's ugly as fuck. Girl, did you go to Mary's Closet and borrow a wig? So we see Jen and Coach Shaw. They're talking, right? And here we go again. Jen has this savior complex. She has this savior complex, right? Because Jen is talking, not Jen, but Coach Shaw is telling Jen that they need to, get out of that house and they need to downsize so that way they can basically help with her, to downsize and consolidate basically so that they can help with her legal bills, right? Because she's totaling damn near $2 million. I'm like, shit. Wouldn't be me. But here's where the savior complex comes in, right? Because she's talking about the fact that, with this house, my family comes here, your family comes here, da 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 da. We bring them here. We bring them here so that way they can have a better life. And it's like, oh God. So the ghostly looking white woman saving the black people, huh? Okay. That's why I don't like her. That's why I don't like Jen. That's why I don't like her. So we're going to move over to Heather, you guys. So with Heather, now you guys know I freaking love Heather. So you guys know my favorites on this show are Heather, Whitney, and Meredith, right? Those are my 3 favorites on this show. Heather. So Heather's brother is visiting her, right? And you guys know her entire family were all Mormons, right? And she, we all know that Heather has left the Mormon faith. Congratulations on that one. So her brother was also a devout Mormon, but I guess after he's heard Heather's story, it made him question some things, and he looked into this Joseph Smith, who I don't know who that is, But he looked into that person, and it said that this man married someone who was years old. I'm not gonna put the number out there, but y'all see that this is a 1 and this is a 4. That person was 1-4. That is disgusting. And I'm pretty sure he was an old creepy ass man. Ugh. Now, here's the one thing. I've been saying this a lot, right? Because the interesting, because he even said it that, he's taking his family out because he realized he had his family involved in a cult. And that's just my whole thing. I've been saying this, people discuss Mary in her church, right? But if you really just sit down and think about it, you could attach a cult to any organized religion. Like you can say any organized religion is a cult. And we just can't put that all on Mary's church, right? Like I've been saying for a very long time, I don't go to church for a multitude of reasons, because for me, I started questioning things in the church. I started questioning things. I started noticing things. And it was just like, why do I come here? I can read my Bible and I can teach myself the words of the Lord. I don't need someone else to do it for me, right? And I think the biggest thing for me was when you look at, some of these churches and you look at the preachers or the pastors or whatever, ministers, whatever you want to call them, right? Now I know about the tithes and offerings, right? But when you look at, especially if you look at how certain parishioners live versus how the first lady and the pastor, preacher, minister, whatever you want to call it. If you look at how people live, look at Joel Osteen, right? I mean, you live in gated communities. You got the nice fancy cars, and your parishioners live paycheck to paycheck, right? That was what it was for me. And then also in the church, I also found that people in the church are so very judgmental, right? If they say that no sin is greater than the other, then why do you look down on certain sins, right? And if you guys, I'm speaking more specifically about homosexuality, right? If no sin is greater than the other, then why do you look down on, certain things? You frown your nose up at homosexuality, but you don't frown your nose up at adultery, having kids out of wedlock, having sex before marriage, stealing, stuff like that. So that's why I choose not to go to church. Honestly, when it comes to Heather, I just really want for Heather just to sit down with a therapist and just put it all out there, right? Because Heather still has trauma from the Mormon faith, right? She still has trauma, and she still basically kind of want to live up to her Mormon upbringing, and it's just like, girl, we got to get you some help, love. So then we're going to move over and we're talking about Lisa, you guys. So we see Lisa, and she is out with Whitney, and they're going to be doing paddleboarding, right? So they talk about the trip to Vail, right? And then Whitney is talking about the fact that, we all were sitting outside and we all were talking about Mary. And I just feel like everybody did a complete 180, which that is 100% true. And the biggest person who did a 180 was Lisa. But Lisa said, Lisa recanted what happened. She went into the room. She had a conversation with Mary. She told, and Whitney was like, what did you tell her about Cameron? She says, yes, I did. And, Mary said what she said, but Lisa says that she still believes her friend Cameron, right? And like I said in last week's review, and I haven't watched last week's after show because I don't know what they said about last week's episode, but I do know that the week prior that Mary said that Lisa didn't really know Cameron that well, and I'm only going off of what they said. I know because Cameron is not here to speak for himself. Rest in peace to that man, right? But Mary said that Lisa really didn't know him, that she knew him through Angie, right? And that's the same thing that Whitney said. Whitney got Cameron's number through Angie. And, she told her that she reached out to Cameron. Now, when Lisa's interview with the producers, Lisa was in her feelings about the fact that, Cameron is my friend and Whitney reached out to him. Okay. So she can't talk to him? What the fuck? Now, one thing that Whitney did reveal to us was the fact that she said that Cameron told her that, Mary and Robert are predators. Now, I don't know what kind of predators they are, and she didn't want to elaborate on it. So, now she did say that it's on the internet. I may go deep dive and look for it. I'm gonna talk about Mary in this later in this episode because as much as y'all know I kiki about Mary, right? Y'all know I think Mary is a hoot. Mary is quirky, but Mary is also rude as fuck. Mary is also ignorant as hell. Very ignorant. The woman is blatantly ignorant. So you guys, we're gonna leave it there and we're gonna move forward and we're gonna wrap up the episode. All right, you guys. So Jenny. Now this is where the episode got long, and this is when I realized we had a supersized episode. So you guys remember that Jenny was doing her, she's doing five for the ladies, right? So we see as the ladies are getting ready, we see we see Whitney, we see Heather, and we see Jen together, right? So we found out that 3 days prior to this, that Whitney had went out with Jen and Jen and Heather. They had a conversation, and honestly, I don't know how y'all can be so. It's interesting, right? Y'all know I love Whitney, but Whitney, you did not have that same energy that you've been had for Jen this entire season, especially in Vale when you guys were on your way to Vale and you put up all those things. It's one thing to say I'm gonna support you, but you got to keep it real with her, right? Well, actually, you know what? Whitney was honest with her because I think Whitney did say that she has said some things, but she'll be there to support Jen. Would I be there to support Jen? Absolutely not, because I believe Jen did it. I ain't even gonna say no damn allegedly. I believe Jen did the shit. And if you guys feel any other way about that, I don't really give a shit. I'm sorry to tell you that. I don't care. I believe Jen did it. Jen can deny, but I believe Jen did that shit 100%. Wholeheartedly believe she did it. Especially after watching that Hulu documentary. Go watch it, you guys. So they're doing this at the International Peace Garden. I'm like, oh shit, wrong place for this group, right? So Lisa and Meredith were the first two to meet up with Jenny, right? So you guys remember, I just told you guys that Whitney, Heather, and Jen were together, right? So they walked up and Meredith was like, "Is that Jennifer Shaw walking up?" And Jenny was like, "Yeah. Now we are in Val together, and I specifically told you guys if you guys wanted to have an event." And you wanted to invite Jen to the event, not to invite me. Meredith, I know what Jen did to you. And Jen, she harassed my family for 2 years. I get it, right? But here's my thing, right? I get where she's coming from. I wouldn't want to be I wouldn't want to be nowhere near Jen, but I can also peacefully coexist in the same environment with you. I just will act like you don't exist. That would just be me. I'm just gonna act like you don't exist. But I don't think that Meredith can do that for now. So they all sit down, they start having their food, right? And, Jenny telling them where they're sitting. And Heather was like, "Wait a minute, where's Mary sitting?" She said she's going to sit between you and Meredith. Heather was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Ooh, Jesus. At least she ain't sitting next to Whitney." So Mary and her terrible wig show up, right? So Lisa made a mention. She's like, "Oh, you're blonde. I like you blonde." She's like, Jenny was blonde too. And Mary didn't know what they were talking about, but then they told her and they showed her a video. This is where Mary lost me in this episode. She lost me twice in this episode, but this was the first time that she lost me. And this is why I made the statement earlier. Damn, I'm spitting and not even trying to. Like Andrew Caldwell was in that video that I watched last night. But Mary said and this is the most insensitive thing. Like Mary says insensitive shit. She's ignorant. Like she was talking about the cartel in the previous episode, right? She couldn't say cartel. She should have just ixnayed that one. She should have just said, "You know what? I'm trying to come up with the name, but I can't come up with it, so I'm gonna leave that be." But in this episode, she told Jenny, "I like your slanted eyes." I was like, I know. No, she did not say she likes the woman's slanted eyes. And I wanted Jenny should have said something in that moment to her, like Mary. you do realize that's racially insensitive. Slanted eyes, that is that is offensive to an Asian American person. That is offensive. And then next week she gonna double down on it. Somebody I like I like slanted eyes. Mary, I know you bleach your skin like it ain't shit, but at the end of the day, you're still a black woman. So if someone says, "Oh, I like your nappy ass hair," or "Oh, I like your charcoal skin," or or if someone called you a nigga, that's not black, you would feel some type of way, and you would be in your feelings about that. Like, and y'all want gonna tell me I have something in my beard this entire time? Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. Just gonna let me sit here and talk and be like, I got something in my beard. I thought we were closer than that, y'all. Thought we were closer than that. So Whitney was like, she's talking to Jen. She's like, I came with, basically what she said was she came with this fake shit. So then Mary says, I heard that. Did you say we're being fake? She says, yeah. She says, is it us or is it you? No, it's definitely you guys, because Whitney ain't said shit to anybody at this point, right? So then somehow the situation with Jen came up and they were arguing about that. Who said what? Who didn't say this? Who said? Y'all all said shit about Jen when y'all went in bail. Lisa is trying to sit here and say she didn't say nothing. Ma'am, you were the cattle. You let it. Don't even go there. You said shit. And Whitney was like, but Lisa, you did say stuff about Heather. I mean, not Heather, but Jen. Then Mary gets into somehow, oh, I never said anything about you. Ma'am, you said you always knew there was nothing good about her. I'm like, what the fuck? And then Jenny was like, hold on. We all said shit. Even I said some stuff. And I was Jen. I'm like, what the hell is going on? The two people who were quiet, and actually it was three people, because after Whitney said something to Lisa, she let it go. Heather had nothing to say, and neither did Meredith. So it was really Jenny, Mary, and Lisa. Lisa was trying to chime in and say some stuff. Mary told her to be quiet. And I was like, oh my God, this is a mess. Jenny heard when Mary said that she didn't say anything, and she's like, Mary, that's a lie. You're lying. Mary says, I'm not lying. I'm like, Mary, yes, you are. You're lying. And that you lying worse than that wig that's on your head. You're lying. And then she got so offended by that. And, Jenny was like, I don't give a shit about you. She's like, oh, you don't give a shit about me? You don't care about me? She says, no, I don't. She said, well, I can get up and leave. So she got up and left. Now, Meredith followed in behind Mary. For once, I'm gonna be on Lisa's side, and this is kind of a stark comparison. I'm on Lisa's side because Lisa. Now, granted, Lisa did lie since she wasn't talking about Jen, but when you really were. But Mary sat there and blatantly lied, and they rolled the footage back. And even in her interview, she's still talking shit. This is gonna be one hell of a reunion. I can tell you that right now. This is gonna be one hell of a reunion. And at one point, Meredith and Lisa were into it. Again, I was on Lisa's side. I actually was on Lisa's side because Meredith, you sitting up here defending Mary, who was lying, but Mary is coming at Lisa. Mary was projecting like Candace. Mary was projecting, like, let's be real. Mary was projecting, deflecting, and lying. But she's not a liar. Girl, you lying. That wig is what's lying, and it ain't lying in a good way. It's running. Actually, that wig was running from your scalp. But yeah, that was what the length of the episode was. This interaction at this International Peace Garden. One no peace had there. But that's the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop anything else. Share the video, you guys, and into the next one. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Social distance. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.